What is up? It's your man, Red Nation Blogger. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Facebook will be added soon. I'm here to talk about Luka Doncic, man. I'm here to talk about what a great player he is, but the situation that he's fallen to. In my years of watching basketball, in my career, you could say, of watching basketball, studying basketball, listening to countless debates, listening to First Take, just from about 2003, 2004, maybe a little earlier till today, current day. Luka Doncic is quickly falling into a hole I've only seen two other players fall into, and that's LeBron James and that's James Harden. I really enjoy the way that Luka plays basketball. I think that he's one of the most complete offensive players in the NBA. I think that like his game is already polished. He has a skill. He can pass. He can make. He has a very high IQ. You know what I'm saying? He's here. He's going to be here for a long time. But there's one thing that's going on that just reminds me so much of James Harden when he was in Houston. It reminds me so much of LeBron James when he was in Cleveland, and that's just the pressure that's on Luka to be great offensively every single night. And that's something that I know firsthand. I've seen with James Harden. I've seen James Harden have great playoff performances and then, slow down in the fourth quarter because teams, they start trapping him or he just gets tired, then they end up losing because the role players, they're not making shots, and they all kind of predicate off of the momentum that James Harden is having. Same goes with LeBron James in Cleveland. And I kind of don't, I do not want that to happen to Luka Doncic. And the weird thing about Luka Doncic, I think that is different from James Harden and LeBron James' situation is Luka Doncic might have the best coach, than a better coach than pre Miami LeBron when he had Mike Brown. And Rick Carlisle, if you depending on who you ask, he's a better coach than Mike D'Antoni in Houston and Kevin McHale. So I think that he has more talent. I believe his second option, earlier in his career at 22 years old, for Luka to already have a 7'3" all-star potential type of big, playing with him, that's different from what James Harden had his first few years in Houston, his first 3 seasons, and different from what LeBron had probably his entire tenure in Cleveland, you know what I'm saying, in terms of just having the second guy that's kind of all-star, and he has the all-star potential. But I just think that it's too Luka-centric, man. I just, and I'm saying this as a fan, I just think that, he's going to put up great numbers. He's going to give you 40. He's going to give you 12. He's going to give you 8. He might even average a triple-double. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be unless the Mavericks get somebody that's on Luka Doncic's level of elite. It kind of reminds me of the Rockets, right? So we never really did anything. We never had the best record in the NBA. James Harden never won MVP until he got a second elite player in Chris Paul that first year that they had Chris Paul. Until he had a player that was kind of similar to his stature in terms of scoring, in terms of free throw shooting, in terms of defense, in terms of passing, playmaking, coaching on the floor, leadership. And once he got that, they won 65 games. They almost won a championship before Chris Paul ultimately got hurt. So I think Luka Doncic is kind of in that same situation, but he already has a 7'3" power forward / center that can play alongside of him. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the issue with Luka Doncic. They're too Luka-centric, and they don't have to be. Kristaps Porzingis in New York, he was looking like one of the best bigs. You had some people saying he was better than Karl Anthony Towns. You had some people saying he was on Anthony Davis's heels. He was on the verge of being one of the best bigs in the NBA. This was before Joel Embiid, he was still dealing with injuries. People were saying these things about Kristaps Porzingis as a player when he was playing with Carmelo Anthony in New York, only for him to go to Dallas. And they're kind of utilizing him like a Ryan Anderson. And we know that in today's NBA, post-ups aren't seen as a high efficiency type of shots. But when you got a 7'3" player, you can't just use him like Ryan Anderson. You can't use him like Nikolai Biak. You can't use him like that. You know what I'm saying? You have to use him in the offense, and you have to go to him consistently, even if that means the ball not being in Luka's hands as much. And that's my issue with Rick Carlisle. I think that Rick Carlisle he may have lost Dallas this series just by being really too dependent upon, just being really dependent upon Luka Doncic, and you don't have to be, you know. And then you got guys like Tim Hardaway and Jalen Brunson and Finney Smith, and you got these guys that can play, but they're not all just catch and shoot guys. They can all put the ball on the ground, but that's kind of what they're resorted to when Luka is on the floor, when they play with Lucas, because he's so ball dominant. I believe already he's 20th all time in playoff 40-point games, and he's only played 12 games. You know what I'm saying? So the talent is there with Luka Doncic, but I think Rick Carlisle has to implement some type of movement in the offense. They have to implement some type of diversity. And I'm saying this as somebody that's watched this happen to James Harden, that watched this happen to LeBron James. Like, I'm a fan of both of those players, and I watched it happen, because guess who's going to start getting the blame eventually? Eventually, first it's going to be Luka needs help, Luka needs help, Luka needs help. Then it's going to turn into, he's not doing enough. He's failing in the fourth quarter, and people are going to just throw context out the window and just start attacking Luka Doncic and his style of play. Right now, they're playing Houston Rockets basketball when they had James Harden. They're playing like they drive and kick, a lot of pick and roll, a lot of pick and pop, and Luka. ISO Luka, and Luka be great, and that's great. You know, like, Luka's a phenomenal basketball player, but like I said, you're not going to win unless you add another player in that mix that can help Luka Doncic legitimately take the scoring load off him. Every night, that second player got to be a 20 to 25 point threat. Every night, that player got to be a 6 to 9 assist guy. Every single night. And he has to be a high-level defender. So until the Mavericks get that, and I don't think any player like that is currently available, they're going to be in this limbo mode, and they need to try something different. And I'm saying that again as a fan, as somebody that has seen it happen to James Harden. I've seen it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I know, like, what I'm looking at. I know what I'm talking about. This is coming from a place of unbiasedness. This is coming from a place, and I'm not saying that Kristaps Porzingis doesn't need to play better. He obviously needs to play better, but I just think that at the end of the day, you know, the Mavericks have to feature him more in the spots that he's comfortable in. You can't just use him playing off of Luka all the time. Luka has to play off of Kristaps some of the time. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how it works. That's my thoughts. I'm out.